Welcome to The Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm Gus Sorola.
We've got another trademark battle on our hands, although actually this one is more like a trademark surrender, which is what happens when you don't have a lot of money.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're all familiar with the drill by now. A giant video game company owns a trademark for its game, and all of a sudden any other game with that name becomes the target.
Or any game that shares a single word in common.
Don't get too many letters in a row. And the latest case is another example of how trademark law can allow companies to lock down pretty common words and sue anyone who dares to use them.
The latest victim of trademark dickishness is the indie PC game Pray for the Gods. It's an adventure game that pays homage to Shadow of the Colossus, and it raised more than $500,000 on Kickstarter last year. Pretty good so far, right?
Yeah, pretty
Sounds
good.
like people are into it. Very unique premise.
And recently, Pray for the Gods ran into a colossus of its own.
I see what it is. Okay, I see what you did. Yes.
Bethesda, it wasn't me, I think it was Brian, he saluted.
Good job, Brian.
Bethesda Studios, which published the sci-fi game Prey that's coming out this Friday, and Bethesda did not like the fact that another game had the word Prey in its title, because how dare they use a word.
Oh, Bethesda. It's another case of a company claiming it needs to protect its trademark to avoid confusion, sometimes at the expense of a smaller studio who didn't know it was stepping into a hornet's nest and might not have the money to hire an army of lawyers.
In the case of Pray for the Gods, developer No Matter Studios said it wasn't interested in a fight with Bethesda and decided to change the name of its game instead. To make everything cool, it added an A to the word pray. You know, like the other version, P-R-A-E-Y?
Pray. In a post on their website, the developers said, "We could have fought this, and we did think about it for a while. Something like a trademark opposition can be long, and depending on how far someone wants to fight it, can be very expensive. We didn't want to spend our precious Kickstarter funds, nor did we want to have to ask for additional funds to fight this in court."
They didn't want to have to kickstart their legal fees as well.
Exactly. They didn't want to pull a prank video guy and be like, "Hey guys, can you pay my legal fees?"
No Matter said they applied for trademark for Pray for the Gods and Pray for the Gods, P-R-A-E-Y, with an A back in 2015, but Bethesda opposed that, saying they were too similar to Prey.
Like, this is not the first time that Bethesda's sued or threatened to sue or just generally gotten kind of litigious over its trademarks. While some companies say they only register trademarks to protect themselves, which is what CD Projekt Red said recently when they trademarked Cyberpunk, others, like Bethesda, have a history of being extremely litigious when it comes to their trademarks.
I like that word. Maybe they like that word, litigious. Using a G that way, litigious. Back in 2012, Bethesda sued Mojang for its card game that was named Scrolls, because, you know, Elder Scrolls. It was eventually settled and Mojang retained the right to develop and publish Scrolls, however Mojang gave up any claim to a trademark on the name. And in fact, if I remember right, I think Notch challenged them to a 1v1 match of Doom or Quake
over the trademark.
They were not amused by that.
I think there might have also been some detail in that where they could publish Scrolls, but no Scrolls 2 or so on. Like, they couldn't make any more games with that name. But then in 2015, Bethesda also sued a popular YouTuber, Captain Sparkles, over his mobile game that was called Fortress Fallout, saying that it was way too Fallout. Captain Sparkles was forced to change his name because Bethesda threatened him with a bunch of legal action, over the trademark, because Fortress Fallout immediately confusable with the Fallout games, right? In spite of being a totally different genre and type of game.
Well, you could say Fallout Shelter instead of Fortress Fallout.
Yeah, I suppose.
I'm playing devil's advocate here because I'm feeling rather litigious today.
I suppose, but also, like, Fallout Shelter wasn't out yet.
But they knew it was coming. If you're wondering why trademarks are such a contentious deal, here's a little background. I like that word too.
Litigious. They're litigious and contentious.
Trademark law is specifically in place so that any company can protect its brand, service, or product from copycats attempting to use the familiarity of a brand name for their own game.
Oh, so far so good. Trademark different from patent or copyright. For one, trademarks are not the same as patents, which give a company exclusive rights to sell or produce a particular invention. Also, not a copyright, which protects an original work of authorship. A trademark exists to protect the name of a brand from confusion by competitors. That means if you see Harry Potter, you as a consumer can be sure that J.K. Rowling had something to do with it because it's trademarked.
Unless it's just some random dude named Harry Potter you meet on the street. J.K. Rowling had nothing to do with that other than an inspiration for someone to
Unlikely,
use
yeah.
And battles over trademarks have a long, long history in video games, and Bethesda's not the only sue-happy publisher, not by a long shot.
No, you may remember that King, which developed Candy Crush Saga, everyone's favorite favorite game trademarked the word saga, and the words candy and super in some countries, and they've had a number of legal fights, most notably with the makers of the Banner Saga. In the end, King and Stoic did come to an agreement, and Stoic was able to continue to use the word saga in the name of its game, but they took a ton of other titles down, usually mostly from like the App Store, that sort of thing, if they had the word candy in them at all.
Last year, news broke that Sony tried to file a trademark for the term Let's Play. This caused a huge uproar from gamers who have been collectively creating Let's Play videos for years, and Sony's attempt was ultimately shut down by the US government for being too generic.
Now, all these lawsuits, just in general, have raised concerns from gamers and smaller developers who can't afford armies of lawyers that giant publishers are just gobbling up common words and then bullying companies that get anywhere near them.
Let's just make up new words. Lots of people
YOLO,
raised
sheeple.
Yeah,
we're working on it.
There you go. Merriam-Webster's our friend now. Lots of people raised an outcry recently after CD Projekt Red applied for and got the trademark for the word cyberpunk in the EU. The trademark had to do with the Cyberpunk 2020 franchise, which CD Projekt Red acquired. After the controversy erupted, CD Projekt Red called the trademark just a defensive move to protect its upcoming game, Cyberpunk 2077. The studio said it had no problem if, say, another game included Cyberpunk in the name in certain cases. As the studio wrote on Twitter, if someone names their game John Smith Adventures in a Cyberpunk Society or 20 short video games set in cyberpunk worlds, none of them should be treated as infringement on our rights.
But then you would also say that, like, Pray to the Gods doesn't sound remotely confusing to Prey, and yet Bethesda went after them. So CD Projekt Red is apparently being cool about their trademark. They're generally good guys. We like them. They, release games DRM free, and they did GOG, and they've done a lot of really good things for the industry. But clearly, Bethesda doesn't feel the same way. And the way that trademark laws are written, it's basically up to the company whether or not they want to be a dick.
As for Pray to the Gods, its developers said that the trademark scuffle with Bethesda left it worried about a possible trial or getting sued for millions. This is really something no starting company should have to deal with, let alone a tiny team of 3, the studio wrote. Oh, 3, that's sad. So the fact that we came out the other end intact, still developing the game, was a win, one that will no doubt shape our company moving forward.
So this story does have a semi-happy ending, but with more and more companies aggressively prosecuting and litigiousing any perceived notion of trademark infringement. This is probably an issue that's not going to go away anytime soon, and this is an example of, while CD Projekt Red are being nice guys about it, that's not always the case, and that's the real concern with the trademarking of like single words, of common words, existing words. This is where it can go wrong.
And according to the letter of the law, they do not have to be nice about it.
They do not have to be nice. It's like they choose to be nice, but you're at their mercy.
Right, correct. What do you think of this latest trademark fight? Should Bethesda have the right to own the word Prey? Let us know in the comments.
And for all your video game news, including who's threatening to sue who over a word, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the new.
They were probably
subscribe to the new. That's what I said. I said subscribe to the new. But you could just subscribe to the no instead. I'm sure the new is a lovely channel, but please stay here.
And the latest case is another example of how trademark law can compel. I was going to throw the word compel in there for some reason. I don't know why. And the latest case is another example of how trademark law can